So welcome everybody. My name is Cliodhna Griffin and I am working in Cliodhna here on the west coast of Ireland in Galway for a few of you who I suppose are international, seeing as this is an international event across the NPA region. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Could I ask you all to please keep your mic on mute? This session is also being recorded and will be online again later. And as well as that, feel free to ask questions throughout the presentations. However, I'll be keeping them until the end of the session to ask the panelists at that stage. So really the purpose of this event is to disseminate the information from the EU project SW Grow, and also bring the knowledge that our partners have and the key stakeholders that we have connections with on Seaweed to you in the audience. Okay, just admitting people here. So as we are all aware, the demand for seaweed is rising. This is possibly due to the newfound focus on the benefits of seaweed from human health, functional properties, and animal feed, to name but a few. So today's event will focus on the fundamental stage, the hatchery, which is the first step for you on your journey to your seaweed farm. So the agenda for today is a 10-minute presentation from Andrew on SW Grow, a 20-minute presentation on the strain selection from Anthony Ford from NUI Galway, and then looking at a practical perspective from Agnes in Tarry Faro Seaweed on setting up your seaweed hatchery. And we'll finish with Dr. Martinez Matter on seaweed pathogens and the impact that has on your farm. Again, we'll have a Q&A panel at the end. Okay, so without further ado, I'll ask you, Andrew, to share your screen, please. So Andrew is our project lead from Lewes Castle College in Stornoway. Andrew has extensive experience in the field of engineering, and he's bringing that skill set here to the seaweed industry. So Andrew, do you want to tell everyone in the audience today a little bit about SW Grow before we continue with today's event?
I certainly will. Thank you very much. Let me just get into presentation mode. Yes, hello, good morning. My name is Andrew MacKenzie, as Cliodhna said. I am a lecturer in engineering at Lewes Castle College in Stornoway as part of the University of the Highlands and Islands. I will describe the SW Grow project and look at the business potential and opportunities. And the reason we're doing this is for the NPA 1.1 to increase innovation and transfer the technology that we investigate for small and medium enterprises. So what are we doing and who's doing it and so on. So if we zoom in, we can see that we have a range of partners spread from the far north in Greenland to 2 partners in Ireland, and in the middle we have Iceland, Faroe, and the others that you can see there. So our main aim is to support small and medium enterprises. So we're going to look to improve the quality of the seaweed product by developing a brand and looking at the character of the NPA, Northern Peripheral Arctic seaweed. And we will be carrying out 4 pilots or tests to evaluate what we've discovered to see if they're going to be useful for the SMEs. And we will make these pilot results widely available. And as far as Lewes Castle is concerned, which is where I'm from, obviously, we do the management and some of the communication. These are the people that lead the various strands of the work. And one of the things we're interested in, obviously, is quality improvement. And we want to encourage cultivation, look at how energy is used, because it's a very heavy user of energy, in particular fossil fuels. And we want to see if we can reduce the waste and or recycle it. And these are the people that are involved in these packages, work packages, as we call it. So under branding and characterization, we want to develop a quality brand. And to do that, we need to identify the structure of the product and its nutritional quality. And these are the people who will do that. We're going to be piloting with all partners involved. And on dissemination, the lead there is Udras, who is at Cliodhna, and she's been doing an excellent job, and that's why she's organized today's seminar. So we will carry out at least 3 pilots or tests on energy, waste recycling and cultivation. And as we know, today is about cultivation. And the outcome we want is that one. We want to establish a brand of excellence so that the seaweed that's produced is high quality, consistent and sustainable. So the key word is sustainable. So I just want very briefly to look at some of the business potential and opportunities relating to that outcome. So this is what we seek to achieve, looking at the business potential. And we've been quite wide in what we thought could be the outcome of all this work. So starting with strategy tourism, we have whisky trails in Scotland. Why not seaweed trails in maybe Iceland or Ireland or Scotland? And also cultivation has a huge potential. So we wish to encourage moving away from the traditional maybe foraging to look at cultivated. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And in terms of processing, we see quite a lot of potential to use various renewable energies. And they're the usual ones that we all know about. And of course, it depends on the geography, whether geothermal is more useful than, for instance, wind. You know, obviously geothermal in Iceland is prevalent. So they have to be geographically available to us. And we want to apply them to the process of waste and drying and by gasification, providing heat that we can use for drying. So looking at innovation, we see that there are some great new products that there might be. So if we now want to look at opportunities, then we hope to be able to develop better employment, more diversity, because as I'm sure you all know, the industry tends to be quite heavily dependent on males, but there are some really excellent examples of women who play parts in senior management in the production of seaweed in both the Faroes and in Greenland. So we aim to help retain population in sparsely populated northern areas. And the good thing about seaweed is that you don't normally need a lot of tools and infrastructure. You need some infrastructure, but you don't need huge infrastructure. So we also think that branding is going to be very important and will be a growth area because everyone these days is interested in food security, and we can bring climate-friendly solutions to the industry. And seaweed is very good at capturing carbon and maybe nutrients that maybe we don't want. And the project will not use fertilizers or pesticides. And of course, we have the lovely pristine waters of the northern area. So this is what we aim to do. And we want to encourage SMEs and to develop the potential for seaweed in the northern area. So that's the introduction. And I now hand you back to Cliodhna.